Today, for 35 years, I've been asking people questions. That's what psychologists do. Today, I'm going to ask you a few. How did the most connected generation in the history of mankind or humankind become the loneliest? Of all the infinite possibilities, we end up with loneliness. Let me ask you another question. When was the last time you felt that you truly mattered? When did someone make you feel that you truly matter? Not because of your success, not because of your achievements, but because of who you are. And the counter question, when did you make anybody else feel that they matter? For years I've been watching children because I trust what they do. Post-COVID, schools reopened, there was celebration, teachers were happy, parents were happy, the noise and chaos was back. And I was observing till it was recess. And then what I saw was children had forgotten how to connect. They had forgotten how to even reach out and say, can I play? They had forgotten how to be with people, how to accept, how to, just interact, communicate. They had forgotten how to connect. They had forgotten how to belong. What we'd done was, they knew maths, but they forgot I can play. And somehow, they learned to mute microphones. They also learned to mute people. And that's when you realize that this is what is missing. We measured learning loss. We forgot to measure belonging loss. There is no report card that measures what a child does the child have the empathy? Does the child have connection? Can the child reach out to somebody who is standing alone? We don't measure that. We only measure achievements. And children show you where the civilization is going long before adults realize where it has been. And over the months as I watched the children, I felt something was there. In 1997, a question that when I was a young doctoral researcher, a question that had been plaguing me since then. What happens to a civilization when its capacity for relationship begins to erode? That was a question. And at that point, what I was seeing was a civilization forgetting to care. And I wished I was wrong. I wasn't. And over the years, in therapy rooms, in various schools, universities, people before COVID, post-COVID, people who have everything, people who have nothing, it's the same pattern. Society is becoming more self-enclosed, transactional, disconnected, and we have connected devices, disconnected people. And that is how I realized that no, I was not studying loneliness. Loneliness is the end of the cycle. All these other stress, everything is the end of the cycle. What I was looking at was a deeper crisis. It was something more dangerous, more sinister, if I can say so. It was a crisis of compassion. It was a civilization forgetting to care. And we didn't reach there all of a sudden. We didn't decide one day, okay, we're going to be cruel. It was happening one day at a time, making one life, one thing invisible, one river polluted, one stray killed, one child ignored, one meal less taken, one neighbor less known. The whole thing is there. Mental health is not something we build inside people. It is something we build between people. What we are going through and what we are living through is a crisis of compassion. I I met this young man who'd come to me. Let's call him Arjun. And, he told me that he wanted to end his life. And the reason why he did not is what made him go back to life was not needing somebody, it was just who will feed my dog. That who will feed my dog gave him responsibility, and that responsibility gave him hope. It was not who will miss me, who will love me. It was just simple who will feed my dog. And that's how he came back. He felt responsibility. That is what we call compassion. We call it relational responsibility. And that's how we define compassion. Compassion is not a one-time act. It is relational responsibility, taking charge of somebody's life which is outside of their own. It could be anything, that plant you care for. And that's, what no psychology book taught me. That's what I realized. That the opposite of loneliness is not being loved, it is not company, it is being needed. And that struck with me. Relational responsibility. I want to ask you another question. Think, who needs you? People become who they are, not in isolation, but they become when they are in a relationship. Every civilization, every society rehearses something. It's not what you value, it is what you practice every day. What do we rehearse today? We are rehearsing competition, productivity, speed. We are rehearsing achievement. Are we rehearsing compassion? We don't practice compassion at all. It's gone out of our lives. When was the last time we took responsibility even for that plant that we have to water? Compassion is not a personality trait. It is a cultural practice. It means including everybody. It's not just who fits in, but making space for everybody who is there. Compassion is a daily practice. And compassion is learned as experience. Because we didn't do this, it's not that we deliberately thought we are going to just leave out compassion. We did it one step at a time. We became busy. We became productive. We became distracted. We became scientific. And we forgot that all life matters. In India, we have a very beautiful concept, seva. Seva is not a one-time thing. I've come to understand over the years that seva is compassion practiced every day. It is a habit. How you reach out, you do everything, and which is like a regular practice. In our homes earlier, we had a small thing called first roti, gai ko dete hain, usko dete hain. It's not about giving it to the cow or the dog. It is reminding ourselves that we have to be compassionate. We don't do that. Tomorrow, I don't know how the world is going to be. AI may be more empathetic, but I think it will never be able to genuinely grieve and be happy, share your happiness. I also see that, it may be that we will get more, everywhere we'll reach, we'll make bigger buildings. But what defines a civilization is not what you build alone, but what you do not let become invisible. What you do not let go of any life. We're talking seva. Seva is practice, compassion in practice. And when we look at anything, tomorrow when you get up, the first thing, instead of reaching out for your WhatsApp or your email, can you ask, and instead of just answering what the world expects from you, can we look at this and see, can we ask ourselves, can another life feel safe in our presence? That's the question we need to ask. Because being seen changes everything. Any psychologist will tell you that the greatest fear is being invisible, is that nobody notices you. You just don't exist. Be it the smallest life form. And when you are seen, compassion is not difficult. You just listen to people. You show up. It's responsibility. It's taking responsibility. It's also ensuring that it is a repeated practice. Since civilizations are not built by extraordinary acts, they are built by ordinary acts. And we didn't lose all this all at once. We lost it one step at a time. One river unnoticed, one tree cut, one animal killed, one stray killed. So if we have to rebuild civilization, we'll have to go, the possibility is going to be the same way. The possibility for this generation is not technological. It is human. It is this. Can any other life feel safe in our presence? Since there are few things that we can do to get back, one noticed life, one act, one practice, one day, every civilization is remembered, not only for what it built, but for what it refused to let become invisible. I want you to think, what is it that we are letting not become visible? Everything is invisible. In many ways, we are not even noticing the next person sitting next is there. Our circles don't have people who are different. We only want people who fit in. When I was doing my PhD, the questions, the vocabulary was there. The questions still remain pertinent. It's been 30 years, and the same patterns, same things. But I believe we can change, because the possibility for this age, there are infinite possibilities. But this is the possibility is, can we get compassion back? Can we get people to care? People to care not as a one-off event, but people to care as something that's an everyday practice. Compassion is learned through experience. It is learned through practice. It is learned from generation. It is passed from generation to generation. And that is how we rebuild societies. That's how we rebuild everything. How do we get compassion? How do we get it into our daily practice? And I leave you with another question. Who will feel less invisible because we notice them today?